Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Haley. Today we are starting this video more vlog style because I am going to be decluttering my eyeshadow palettes. So I have accumulated a lot of palettes that I'm not using and I'm hoping to get rid of at least some of them today. So let's just get into it. Okay, so I mentioned this on my Instagram, but we are going to be moving my vanity into our living room because my beauty room is becoming our sweet baby's nursery. And so I want to do a lot of decluttering so that there's very minimal makeup on top of the vanity and it's all mostly inside the drawers. So I haven't been using eyeshadow palettes as much lately, so I really want to whittle my collection down to just the things that I really love and use. Oh, in case you're wondering, I usually don't wear my wedding ring and engagement ring when I'm at home because it tends to get caught on things, and yeah, so that's why I'm often not wearing it in videos, but still married, just don't always have my ring on. So let's start with an obvious keep. This is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I freaking love this palette. My husband picked this out for me on our honeymoon at the Disney Springs Sephora, and I have just loved it ever since. This is like, I've said this many times, if you are wanting to get more creative with eyeshadow but you don't know where to start and you like more ethereal looks, this palette is basically perfect. I mean, let me show you some shades that I really love. So this one is Moon Magic. This is so pretty, just very iridescent, shifty. And then I really love this one that has like a blue shift to it that is just so gorgeous. I don't know if it's really picking up on camera. And then my favorite shade in it is this shade here, Energized, which is just absolutely gorgeous. So this is an obvious keep for me. I'll put the keeps over here. Okay, I have the e.l.f. New Classics palette. You guys, I really just don't reach for this very often. It's a good palette, don't get me wrong, and I like to have some drugstore ones, but this is just not one that I'm reaching for. I like the mattes in it a lot better than the shimmers. The mattes are really, really like buttery and blendable, but I've really only used it a handful of times, so I think it might be time for me to pass this one on. Okay, this one is a newer palette. I've gotten it within the last 3 months, so I'm definitely going to keep this one because I'm liking it. It's the Morphe NM Midnight Dune palette. It has some really pretty cooler tones in it, and I've really liked it the times that I've used it. So I want to keep playing around with this one. I wouldn't say it's like become a quick favorite or anything, but I do like it, so I want to keep it since it is so new, although I have some other new ones in here that I'm going to be passing on, so we'll talk about those in a minute. Gosh, you guys, this one has survived so many declutters. It is old though, you guys. This is like 4 years old. It's all gross too on the bottom. And this is from Makeup Geek, which is a brand that does not even exist anymore. These were my very, very favorite matte shades because they were so blendable. This white is obviously a clear favorite. I can't tell you how many looks I've done with this all over the lid and this one in the crease. I still don't know if I'm quite ready to part with it yet, and it's hard because it's not a real brand anymore, and so I feel like I want to keep it, but I also feel like it's old. I don't know if it should survive one more declutter or not. I'll put it in the maybes. Okay. This one I know I'm going to pass on. I just never use it. I actually got this from Ross and I had never tried a Lorac palette before. And I just really was not that impressed by it. It wasn't the most amazing thing I'd ever used in my life. I feel like I have a lot of shadows in here that are similar to this and I'm just not reaching for it. It wasn't very expensive because I got it from Ross. So I think I'm going to pass it on. It does look really pretty though, doesn't it? I don't know what shade that is. There's no shade names on it, but that is pretty. I'm just never reaching for it, you know? So I'm gonna pass this one on. This is an obvious keep for me. I don't use it a ton. I use it for really special occasions, but my favorite glitter on the entire planet is in this palette. This is the Pat McGrath Divine Rose palette, and it is so gorgeous. You guys, this glitter shade is my favorite. Sorry, I was using a makeup wipe. Oh my gosh. to get. Ignore that. This is not from the palette. This is from the makeup wipe I just used. This is my favorite glitter on the entire planet. It is so gorgeous. I used it as a topper on my wedding day, and my wedding photos of my close-up face, oh my gosh, the eyeshadow looked just gorgeous. So I love this. It was very, very pricey, but I love it. And I use it on special occasions, so I'm gonna keep this. Okay, this is another one that just does not, the brand doesn't exist anymore. It's Tati Beauty, so I feel like I have to keep it. And I do love this one, you guys. It is getting a little bit old though. I think I got it in the last I guess not that long ago, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years before the brand closed, I got it. And this is really pretty, and actually I'm thinking about that Makeup Geek palette and the shadows I use. These could probably replace some of the matte ones I use in there. These are the only chunky glitters I've ever used that I actually really like, but I have to be in a mood for chunky glitter, but it definitely is chunky. But I do love this. There's no way I'm getting rid of it. I mean, I just love it, and I feel like so many people wish they had it now that don't have it anymore. Oh, also, these sequin shades are so unique. I feel like there aren't that many sequin shades in palettes, and this sequin shade here, the Aura one, it's hard to tell because I already have other glitter on my hand, but the little specks of sequin in it actually show up on the eyes, and it's really pretty. It's subtle, but it's gorgeous. So I just love this palette. I'm obviously keeping it. I'm gushing about it. Okay, this one, you guys. Too Faced Natural Eyes palette. When I tell you guys I've gotten this in the last 3 months, and I'm going to give it to my mom. I am so upset. I used to have the Too Faced Natural Mattes palette, but it got old and it started to irritate my eyes. This is the Natural Eyes palette. It's the one with the shimmers in it, and it is so freaking pretty, you guys, but it irritates my eyes right off the bat. I don't know what ingredient is in here that causes my eyes to swell and get itchy. It's not horrible. It does go away after a couple hours, but I think my mom would really, really love this palette, and I'm not going to return it. I don't know. So I'm going to give this one to my mom, but it's pretty. If it didn't irritate my eyes, I would keep this, but I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to give it to my mom. So I'm going to put this one off to the side. Okay. Charlotte Tilbury, this is the Pillow Talk Quad. I used this again the other day. Clearly I love this. I've hit pan on 2 of the shades, really almost 3. And I used this again the other day, and my eye look was the prettiest eye look I had done in so long. It made me really want to get another Charlotte Tilbury quad, but they're so expensive. They're like $55. It's so pretty though. I still think I'm going to keep it a little bit longer, but I think I want to get a different Charlotte Tilbury quad. They have their Exaggerize palette that it looks a little bit similar to this that I'm wanting to try. So if you've tried that, let me know. But these are so pretty, and you can actually do, I mean, it's not like a ton of variety, but I have done this one in the crease or this one in the crease, and I do this one all over, which is also shimmery. And then this is a glitter that actually is a little bit of a similar glitter formula, not the same, but similar to the Pat McGrath one that's my favorite. It's just very, very finely milled shimmer. So I love this. I'm going to keep it just a little bit longer. Anastasia Soft Glam palette. I've had this for a couple years. I do really like this, you guys, but this is another one that I'm just not reaching for it enough, and it is getting kind of old where sometimes when I use this, it irritates my eyes a little bit. Not as bad as that Too Faced one, but I honestly think it's just because it's getting a little bit old. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna pass this one along because it is probably, it's almost 2 years old, which really isn't that bad, but I'm just not reaching for it, so I'm gonna pass this one on. Okay, Born This Way Sunset Stripped Eyeshadow Palette. I don't reach for this a ton, but this is one I'm gonna keep because it's one of my most unique palettes, and I know that the shades don't look unique, but the formula is really unique. These shimmers, for the most part, are more of a, well, not all of them. This one isn't. This one's really pretty though. It's Sandy Cheeks, and it's got a shift to it, like a green and a pink that's gorgeous. And the mattes are fine. They're not anything to write home about, but these shimmers are just so interesting. And this shade here, Sun's Out, is very bouncy. It's almost like a cream base, and it's gorgeous. Every time I wear this, I think my eye looks so pretty, and I always ask myself why I don't reach for it more. I tend to reach for it more in the summer because it's supposed to be kind of a summer palette, and I always remember that I have it in the summer, and then I end up using it a lot. So I'm gonna keep this. It's really pretty. It's definitely unique, so this is one that I want to keep. Okay, ColourPop Deja Brew palette. This is my favorite ColourPop palette that I've owned. You can find it at Target. It is really, really pretty, super inexpensive. I actually used this a lot. It's funny that I'm not getting rid of it, but I used this a lot in the depths of morning sickness for my pregnancy because it was just so easy. I didn't have to think about it, and I really appreciated that I had this. They have these sequin shades here, not unlike the Tati Beauty, that the sequins actually show up, but it is subtle enough that it doesn't overtake the eye look. The mattes in here are really blendable. A lot of you guys that watch my channel have purchased this too, because I can see it on the back end of my links. And I hope you guys like it because I have just loved this one, and it seems like it's so simple. Look at that crushed oats shade. It's so freaking pretty, isn't it? And I like to have some drugstore palettes, so I am going to keep this. Okay, Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. Guys, I'm gonna keep this. I have repurchased this. I bought it around when it first came out in 2017, and I have repurchased it since. This is that one that I repurchased. This is just my favorite eyeshadow palette of all time. I have so many fond memories of using this palette. Also, these shimmers are just so pretty. Unlike others that I have, this Luscious shade is just to die for. It's so gorgeous. It still smells amazing. I don't have an aversion to it, which is crazy. I'm smelling it now. I'm like, nope, just smells good. Doesn't make me want to die. So I'm gonna keep this. It's just a classic palette too, you guys. I could not get rid of this unless I was repurchasing it. All right, this is a hard one, you guys. I think it might finally be time for me to pass this on. I've had it for a couple years. I have a video about it that actually has done pretty well on my channel. I just don't reach for this enough, and I don't know why exactly, because there's some beautiful cool tone shades, there's some beautiful warm tone shades, but I don't know. I like the Morphe formula. I just don't know if the formula is always my favorite, and I have other things I'm reaching for, so I think it might be time to pass this one on. And I don't feel so bad passing it on because Morphe is a pretty affordable palette. I think this was less than $20. I think I might have even got it on sale. So I'm gonna pass this one along. Okay, you guys, this is another one that I just got in the last couple of months. It's brand new. It's the ColourPop Precious Metals palette. Guys, I just continue to be disappointed by the ColourPop formula. And I know I said I really like that one little palette. This one, the mattes in here are really, really good. They're super blendable. I've been reaching into the mattes a lot, but the shimmers, they're just a little bit too chunky for me. It's like they're not quite glitters, but they're not quite shimmers. I just like my shimmers to be a little bit more ethereal. And it looks pretty when you swatch it, which is why I bought it in the first place. The swatches look so pretty. It's just almost a little bit too much for me at this point and my eyeshadow taste. And so I'm gonna give this one to my mom because it is brand new and I think she would really like it. So I also got it a while ago. Like, it was sitting in the box for a long time. I definitely can't return it anymore. So I'm going to pass this to my mom, but my mom will really like it. So I'm gonna put this off to the side. Okay, we're narrowing some things down here. My battery's dying on this camera. Please last. This is my Charlotte Tilbury Darling palette. I just love this formula. Everything that I said about the smaller one, you can just repeat for the formula of this one, except there isn't a glitter in it. It is so pretty. It's ethereal. Every time I use it, I tell myself I should use it more. It's more warm toned, and I don't have a ton of warm toned little palettes, and I love Charlotte Tilbury. I got this as a gift, and I love it, so I'm keeping it. Okay, this Doll Face palette. This is a very underrated, not super well-known drugstore brand, and I did a whole video talking about, was it specifically this palette? You know what, you guys? I just have not used this enough to say. I know I really, really liked the formula. Like, I was super impressed. This is gorgeous. I'm gonna keep this because I just haven't used it enough, and I remember the mattes being really good too, and I like having a couple of drugstore palette, so I'm gonna keep this and use it more. But it was buried in the drawer, so I forgot I had it. Okay, Natasha Denona Glam palette. This is an obvious keep for me. It was my wedding palette, and then I topped it with that glitter from the Pat McGrath. This is so pretty. If you love cool tone, this is gorgeous. I don't reach for it a ton, but I really like the formula, and every time I do, I really like my eye look. So I'm gonna keep this one. I invested a lot of money in it, and also, again, it's my wedding palette, so there's no way I'm getting rid of it. I do really like this, but I don't reach for it enough. Okay, these two I'm keeping. I have gushed about these over the years. These are Tarte limited edition holiday palettes that were selling for a long time because I think they actually sold pretty well. So they came as a set, and one is this is the Gilded, and it is the more warm toned palette, and one is the Glamour, and this is the more cool toned palette. You guys, these are perfect holiday palettes. The shimmers in here are so pretty. The mattes are not, you know, super, super unique or special, but they do perform well. I love this more warm toned one for the fall months. And then if you want a really gold kind of holiday look. And then this one has greens that I absolutely adore, honestly, from December through March, you know, through St. Patrick's Day. So I love these two palettes. There's no way I am decluttering these. I reach for these a lot the second half of the year, so keeping these for sure. This is my MAC, what is this, Unfiltered Nudes palette. I really like this palette, you guys. This is a palette that is really easy to use with your fingers. It looks pretty with a brush too, but I love this like stone colored shimmer. It is one of my favorites to reach into when I want a really cool toned look, along with that Natasha Denona one too, obviously. This is newer to me. The mattes are really good in here, but this is just a very effortless eyeshadow palette that I actually bought this for my niece for her bridal shower too, because I think she would really like this palette. It's really nice. I think beginners would really like this palette too, because it's not hard to work with. So I'm gonna keep this. Also great for traveling because it's fairly compact, but you still get a lot of shades in there. Okay, I'm trying to hurry here. My Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. My mom got this for me for Christmas. I love this. I was using it like crazy for a while, and then I had to force myself to stop, but the glitters in here are so pretty. Not dissimilar from the Charlotte Tilbury ones. And the mattes are really nice, so I'm definitely going to keep this. You can't get it anymore because it was limited edition. It came back this holiday season, so I asked my mom for it for Christmas, and she got it for me, so I love it. Okay, let's grab some of these over here. I just recently got this in the last couple of weeks. This is one I've been wanting to try forever. It is the Urban Decay Moon Dust Space Cowboy shade that everyone talks about, and it is really pretty. It definitely... it's hard to see in this lighting, but it definitely amps up your eye look. Like when I want just a little bit more shimmer, this is a great one to add. This I'd say is like one step below that Pat McGrath glitter. I like that one just a little bit more, but this is really pretty too. I'd be willing to get more shades of this because it's gorgeous. I did not like this, you guys. This is the L'Oreal Brilliant Eyes Liquid Shadow. It just got creasy on me. It looks pretty when you swatch it, but I have really creasy eyelids and really oily eyelids, so it just ends up creasing on me. It doesn't look good, so I'm gonna get rid of this. And then same with this one. This is the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick, I think is what it's called, in the shade Strapless. I got this as a little gift, and it looks pretty, but I'm just not reaching for it, and it creases a lot on me. So I'm gonna get rid of this one too. Love this one. It's the Il Makiage Kathleen Lights palette. You really can't get it anymore. It was kind of hard to get in the first place, so I'm definitely not getting rid of it. The mattes in here are really good. The shimmers are really, really pretty. They're kind of ones though that can bunch up a little bit. So what I say with this is I like to give it a swipe on my hand first and then put it on the lid. And it's really, really pretty. I love this a lot. This shade over here, forget what it's called. I think it's Hot Stuff, or maybe it's, I'm not good at reading these upside down. It might be Funky Town. It's one or the other. It doesn't look like it's going to be that dark, but it ends up being really smoky shimmery, and it's so pretty. Such a unique shade. Keeping it for sure. Okay, my camera died, but I'm back. We have two bigger palettes left. So I have the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. I love this. I'm definitely keeping it. The shimmers in here are really, really pretty, just unique shades. Very pretty. Actually, the shimmers, I would say, in that doll face palette are very similar formula to this one. So if you're looking for something less expensive with a similar formula, this is similar. But I love that there's some warm tones, there's some neutrals, there's some kind of cooler tones. Then you got these berries too that are really pretty for fall. This is just a very versatile palette that is still full of neutrals, so I'm definitely going to keep this one. And then last but not least, in the bigger palettes, we have the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I love this. This was in my top palettes of last year. Again, the shimmers are just really, really pretty. Similar to the Charlotte Tilbury formula, along the same lines, but you know, still a little bit different, but similar. Again, I would say this glitter formula is like maybe one step down from that Pat McGrath one, but this is just really pretty. I have used this a ton since I bought it, and yeah, so I'm definitely gonna keep this one. Love it. Okay, now I have a bunch of these smaller eyeshadows here. Move this out of the way. Okay, so I have this Infallible Amber Rush from L'Oreal. This is really pretty. Yeah, this is really pretty. Similar to this MAC pigment in tan, though. I would say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to clean this table. Really similar to the MAC pigment in tan. I would say that the formula of the L'Oreal is just a little bit thicker. I think I'm gonna keep both of these because I really like them, and again, I always think it's good to have some drugstore options. This I have not played with a ton. It's from MAC. It's one of their Dazzle shadows, and it's more of a shifty type of formula, but it's really chunky, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it's really chunky, and it's not really my cup of tea. I don't know, it's looking pretty. I feel like if I want an effect like this though, I would just reach into the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I think I'm gonna get rid of this because every time I've used it, I haven't really been crazy about the eye look that I get, so I don't feel the need to keep testing it out. Elf, I really don't like this. This is one of their glitter eyeshadows in Disco Queen. This is really chunky too, and it just does not look good on the eyes. I don't like it at all. So I'm gonna get rid of this. These three I am definitely keeping. This is my favorite glitter eyeshadow formula. This is CoverGirl, their collaboration with Kelsey Ballerini, and I have just a few of the shades. This one is definitely my favorite. I think it's called Glitter Up, and totally unlike the ones I just showed you. It's just smooth, catches the light gorgeously. The formula is so pretty. This has been my favorite formula for a while for glitter eyeshadows. They had other ones before that I think you might still be able to get on Amazon, but they're becoming harder and harder to find in store. This one is number 2. It's more of a pink, and then this one's more of a taupey shade, so I'm gonna keep all of these because I really like them. Okay, so let's go with getting rid of, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different eyeshadows in different kind of formats here. And I think that Makeup Geek one that's off to the side, I think I'm still going to keep that one a little bit longer. I really do need to get rid of it soon though because it is getting old, but I still reach for it enough that I want to keep it. Plus I'm heartbroken about, you know, the brand. I can't replace it or even replace single shadows from it. So this is a lot. I think I said 24, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. With the Makeup Geek one, it's 25. It's still a lot of palettes. I'm going to pass these two on to my mom because they're fairly new. The rest are older, and so I'm going to get rid of them. But I do think all of these will fit in my drawer for my eyeshadow palette, and that was the main goal. So I'm happy with the ones I'm keeping. I feel like I have specific reasons for all of them. And yeah, so let's go to the outro. All right, there you have it, my declutter. I didn't declutter quite as much as I would have wanted to, which I feel like always ends up happening with eyeshadow palettes for me because you spend so much money on them. Sometimes it's hard to let them go. It's not as easy as some of the other products I have in my collection, but If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, I hope you'll hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload new videos, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Love you guys.